All right, guys, what is going on today? I have a very special episode today with an interview with someone I love very much, my own mother, Wanda Luyando, who worked town for 33 years and worked at the World Trade Center actually in 2001 and for almost like a decade prior to that. So she's gonna talk today about her experience working there, and yeah, we're gonna get to that in a bit. I want to run through the beginning of the show really quick, not to take too much time for my own mom. So first off, I want to have a real moment of silence for the people who lost their lives today on 9/11, 19 years ago. And I also want to remember the people who are still fighting for their rights every day and for their own health and all that stuff. Just never forget. Yeah. So like I said, not going to be too long today. Just want to get the markets really fast. In stocks, so reviewing the week now. A turbulent week, without a doubt. Could be a little sell off. We might be looking at like a crypto boom this weekend. Who knows? In terms of numbers, Dow Jones up about 0.5 on the day to 27,665. S&P 100, same 3,340. NASDAQ at 10,853. S&P 600, 861.93, my apologies. Bitcoin currently at 10,349. Ethereum at $360. And finally, Ample Fourth at 89 cents. Yeah. Like I said, turbulent week. Weekend should be interesting for cryptos, and we'll see how it goes. So to the weather, gonna be kind of cool for the night. Going into the day tomorrow, it's gonna be kind of mild weather, 70s. Again, we're going into the fall. I mean, if you look down the week, it is gonna heat up a little on Sunday for the weekend. If maybe go outside, you guys, you go to the park, all that good stuff. And worldwide, let's see where we're at. So, is it gonna rain tomorrow? I just realized that. Let me double check that before I start spewing BS. Yeah, nah. It's gonna be cloudy, clear pretty much tomorrow night. Even sunny around 5 or 6. And early in the morning it's gonna be pretty sunny. So yeah, so good to go to the park, without a doubt. So yeah. Okay, so what high and low in the world. My freaking favorite part. 118 degrees in Saudi Arabia. It's freaking crazy. Al Dawa Dami, Saudi Arabia, 118 degrees. Abadan, Iran, 117. Jarrah, Kuwait, at 117. It's hot in that part of the world, man. It is hot out there. I mean, nothing to be Antarctica. It's negative 104 degrees out there. I gotta find like a cold place that's not Antarctica. Kids, like, you're not gonna beat Antarctica for coldness. That's crazy. I almost like, nah. I almost kind of want to go out there. No, I don't. That's psychotic. All right. Anyway, it rained like all hell in Japan. Makazurazaki, Japan, 7.87 inches of rain, and Nagasaki also about 7.8 inches. In Late Sioux, it rained a lot, 5.91 inches, and I didn't know it was so rainy out there in that part of the world as well. Huh. I gotta travel. All right, so some quick, like, more obscure news. Yeah, so I saw Skip Bayless just said something kind of stupid, um, saying that, like, you can't be a good leader because, like, all right, what is the exact quote? He says, "I'm going to disqualify." So I'm going to disqualify myself right up front. This question, I'm the wrong one to ask about this when it comes to the face of that franchise of America's team. Dak Prescott, but not his quote. Dak Prescott is like endlessly better than Skip Bayless, so whatever. Obviously, right? It's yeah. So okay, I'm going to ask our audience to feel free to go ahead and condemn me if you choose as cold-blooded and insensitive on this issue. I have deep compassion for clinical depression. It's pretty hypocritical. But yeah, like, okay, you already see he's going to say something stupid. At least he knows he is. But when it comes to the quarterback of NFL's team, you know this as well as I do, or better than I do. It's the ultimate leadership position in sports, and I write about that. You are commanding an entire NFL franchise, 53 guys, and they're looking at you to be their CEO and charge the football team. Because of all that, I don't have sympathy for him going to the public. I got depressed. I suffered depression early in COVID to the point I couldn't even go work out. The best part about this is it came on World Suicide Prevention Day, which was September 10th. And like freaking like Fox Fox had to go and apologize for this guy. The Fox Sports is different than like Fox, but yeah, just I don't know. But Dak Prescott was just talking about his depression. They ask like all these people so many questions. Like I understand that like sports is important to like our worlds, and you know it's a distraction and both a political vehicle for rights and all that, but it's just like it's a lot, and when you really look at the leagues now, like they're so like they have questionable ethics. They have very, very questionable ethics. I don't even want to go into the whole NBA China thing and LeBron James and James Harden's like anti-patriotic comments, like I mean anti-human rights comments, but I don't know. Not everyone's horrible, but like these leagues work with Nike. That's all I gotta say. They all work like they're pretty much all extensions of Nike. If you really like get down to it. Okay. Anyway, Skip Bayless is an idiot. That's wrong. Like mental health. I mean, there have been like all sorts of leaders throughout the world. Like some of the greatest presidents were depressed throughout. Like Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. I don't know. There were a couple that said they had mental illness problems, but there's no point to even asking him this question. They're just looking for like free advertising. Okay, so another story about this actress who passed away. Anaya. Oh, I want to get her actual like last name, just Naya Rivera. Yeah, so I don't really follow this story too much, honestly. I just thought it was too sad to follow. Like I was really what it was like. But basically, like they like saw her autopsy, or they went through her autopsy, and like they found like a little. I think that she was like at a 0.01% alcohol like blood level. So the full quote is okay. Here we go. So Naya's cause of death remains an accident, with the medical examiner explaining in the report. Her toxicology report shows a therapeutic level of phentermine, a low therapeutic levels of amphetamine and diazepam, caffeine, and a blood alcohol concentrate of 0.016%. Based on the autopsy findings, known circumstances surrounding the death, and the absence of anatomic or toxicological explanation for the death, as currently understood, the cause of death is drowning and the manner of death is an accident. So, like, here's what's going to happen, though. Because, like, she's Naya Rivera. I mean, I don't know. Bringing race into it, I don't know, but they're gonna come at this girl like she was doing drugs. When you're looking at the sentence, and it's not like a simple sentence for any normal person to read and understand. All they're gonna see is that a percentage of BAC, and they're going to. I mean, it literally says therapeutic level of phentermine, low therapeutic levels of amphetamine and diazepam, caffeine, and a BAC of 0.016. Now, when you see therapeutic level, means that was what was prescribed to her. Like, the public is going to read this and just see a list of drugs, pretty much, and alcohol, and that she was possibly drunk, which is also Not true, because point oh one is actually like you're like not even tipsy at that point, and they found three White Claws in her boat, and it was like one was drank, and one was like a third drunk, and the last one was unopened. Like it's ridiculous. It's dishonest, honestly. Uh, Man, I don't know. I just pulled this quote out of this like article. Um, I should let me find this article. Okay, so article from the Associated Press today, or yeah, uh, she had these small amounts of alcohol in her and the small amount of drugs. Man, I'm so mad I forgot my point. Like it's just dishonest. It's not gonna it's dishonest because like people know like people don't know and the news knows that people don't know. And now it's gonna cause like possibly panic. I don't know. That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong and overthinking it. I didn't really follow the story too much. Like I said, it's a sad story in the end, and I think just give her privacy. It's silly to see this stuff come up. Um, I had a lot of coronavirus articles today. That's like such a depressing story. Also, well, actually, no, I don't know. It's mixed. So, all right. So like, pretty much another report done by Street Easy that COVID-19 impacted New York City neighborhoods that are experiencing the greatest rent burdens. Rents rose 22% in the last 6 years. Yeah. So the neighborhoods that saw the most COVID-19 cases in 2020, rent rose 22% over the last 6 years. In areas with the fewest COVID cases, rent only rose 10% in the last 6 years. Really affected Elmhurst, Corona, Jackson Heights due to more overcrowding. They have more evictions in the area, more immigrants, Black and Hispanic New Yorkers. I mean, I think it's just gonna be like when you really look at it, you're gonna have to just start putting people like putting poor people in the suburbs, and I don't mean that in like a racist way. I mean it in like that's like really the way that the Republicans particularly have really framed it as like they're coming for your suburbs. Go watch the RNC and it's all just we're coming for the suburbs. They even got two like freaking suburb defenders, the two little fat asses who were just like swinging their guns around with those protesters who were like in their like private thing or whatever, not like on their lawn. I don't know. Yeah, but they brought him on. They were just talking about the fear of the they're coming. Black Lives Matter is coming to your suburb. I don't know, but that's really the only option. You try to keep the poor people away from the rich people. That's really what the government has been trying to do for probably every government ever has been trying to do forever. But like this you can see it. You see it. So you see the numbers. You see in the cases. You see it. You're gonna see it in the homelessness and the people lose their jobs. All right, another. All right, let's see. Should I do coronavirus? Dude, it's so annoying. I don't even want to do coronavirus news today, but like there was a lot of coronavirus news today. Dr. Fauci said he felt depressed when he looked at the data on the new coronavirus cases and reported in the U.S. every day. He just like this is just his words, but you gotta like realize like he's in charge. Like right? If he's looking at this and he's like, we'll get 191,000 deaths so far. They are projecting, according to an article that I had, that I seem to have lost here. Oh, here it goes. Okay, so CNN article that actually really went in depth on a lot of like the numbers. Probably one of the best articles I've seen on it in general. This is written by Amir Vera, Jay Croft, and Christina Maxuris. So there's a model done by the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. They're seeing about 400,000 deaths by January from coronavirus in the United States. 600 deaths possibly by January 1. And I mean, it bleeds into each other. If you're gonna have Dr. Fauci like worried about this, right? Like, and saying also here in this article, he even says he does not agree with the president's statements, that this is kind of under control. We're getting this around the river. He says, I really do believe we're rounding the corner and the vaccines are right there, but we're not even discussing vaccines and not discussing therapeutics. We're rounding the corner. Well, like, that's just not even like, I don't know. You're yelling out the wind. But like, uh, yeah, he's saying we're plateauing at 40,000 new cases a day, 1,000 deaths a day in this country. And it's just kind of going to get written off as like, oh, we know 40,000 people die every year. It's another 40,000 or I don't know. 1,000 deaths a day, Jesus. I don't know, man. He's saying U.S. is not going to return to normal until 2021, end of next year. And then like he's saying there's not even gonna be like, well, first off, it's once it's a vaccine, it gets distributed, and then you have to like, is most people aren't gonna take it immediately. I don't really have a comment on that. I mean, that's up to people. A lot of people don't feel safe taking a brand new medicine, right? Well, yeah. So, I saw about 25% of people are gonna take it right off the cusp, and then like that'll really kind of start to get things under control. And as they just make more of these vaccines and people buy into it, I mean, realistically, we're gonna be looking at like 2022, possibly 23, or we're really looking for normal again. It's pretty wild when you really think about it. But yeah, CDC says about 36,000 new cases a day. Better than August, still too high, as Dr. Fauci says. He said it could be worse right now. The flu season, if it's bad, could kind of put strains on the healthcare system. Because people do die from the flu. People are saying, "Oh, well, it's just the flu." It's just like the flu, right? But then watch what's gonna happen when the flu and this happens at the same time. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. Maybe this guy just bounces out, just leaves it as crap, and then passes to the next guy, the Trump way. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're saying infected college students shouldn't be sent home. It's pretty interesting. 1,300 ASU students got tested positive since August 1. Oh, this is so depressing. I'm done with that. Just please wear your masks, y'all. So quick thing, a Bronx school temporarily closed due to possible coronavirus cases. So they're closing the school for 24 hours. Yeah, the guys from New York won. They're always great. Some good coronavirus news, I guess. German schools reopened a month ago and have not seen major outbreaks. They've been back in school for about a month now, and they said they said the first week there were about 150 cases, 31 clusters, and then it like chilled out. Maybe like one-offs here and there, but they're managing it. That's cool. Doesn't seem to be a fight out there. Let's see. So, kind of leading into what my mom talks today. So she actually talks about like barricades they put up all up and down like Midtown post 9/11. And I'm just reading this article here that people in Midtown North, like are getting pissed off by barricades. Yeah, I guess they're blocking off blocks and stuff like that. There's checkpoints and for everything. I don't know. Interesting coincidence, I thought. Let's see. Anything else? I think I got like a couple more things. All right, we're gonna touch on one opinion I had actually. I don't know if you guys have seen The Boys. Season 2 came out. Don't want to spoil anything, but like that show is really well directed. Great actors. And like, just overall great show. If you like superheroes and you like Superheroes Unleashed and you like a good plot and you like something different, definitely The Boys is the show, because it is nuts. It is nuts. It is good. It touches on like a lot of things, and if you really have an eye for it, like it's really, especially this last. So I want to talk about episode 4. This came out last night. And they had a moment between Mother's Milk and Starlight, and they're kind of like eating a. They're at this coffee shop, and Starlight's eating a. She's eating a bagel, or she's eating a donut, and Mother's Milk's drinking like a coffee, and like kind of like you see like Mother's Milk's obviously like a big black guy, and Starlight's this little blonde girl, and they're very different characters, right? Like it's like completely different worlds, right? And you see like Starlight's kind of like younger, nervous. She's talking kind of fast, and talking about growing up and how her father used to bring her to Dunkin' Donuts, and now that she's a hero, like it's just gone, like it's not a thing, and she would never eat like sweets, and now and anytime she gets a donut, it's like amazing for her. And he kind of like he's quiet and kind of looking at her, and then he kind of has his own story. He kind of whips it out, and this is what I thought was cool, because he starts with his own story about how he used to go to Baskin Robbins with his father after church every day, and he would go and ask for all the samples of Baskin Robbins, all 31 flavors. First off, great advertising, by the way. But like, so yeah, they did this, and he skipped through it, and he just missed all those times. And I thought it was really interesting because you see these two characters who are completely different. They're completely different in every way culturally, right? And like they exist in like the same place, and they coexist just like Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. They're both under the same name. They're both in the same store. They're two different suites, and like it's just they coexist, and I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool parallel about like kind of like the different races who live here in America, and also I guess like using Dunkin' Donuts and like Baskin Robbins in particular are good examples for America due to the corporatism that's rampant throughout this country. But like, I mean, I don't know. That was cool. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really well written. That part in particular, I'm not doing the scene justice at all. I'm not doing the show justice at all. But seriously, like it's a really great show. I recommend it. It's on Amazon Plus or something. Yeah, honestly, Prime. It's not Prime. Sorry, it's free. I think if you like do one of those like email, like you just put an email in, they give you a free trial no matter what. You can do it like a million times. You have new emails, or y'all hit me up if you want. You want my Amazon? Actually, no. No one gets my Amazon Prime. That's dumb. Okay. So anyway, all right. Last story, and then I am leaving it to my mom. I have a great show for her. She had, she took time out today to do this, and I thought it was great. So yeah. So last story is just about TikTok. So like, I don't know, it sounds silly. But by September 15th, like they have to shut the app down, or like there has to be a deal in place. Because obviously, because like there's possibly most likely Chinese like spyware in TikTok. That's a whole different thing. Definitely look into that. And just like how they really try to hack the app, and it literally like changed to protect itself. I don't know. But basically, like September 15th is the cutoff date. They're shutting it down or whatever. Like if unless there's a deal, and the deal. So the people are looking to buy it, right? So like it's Oracle, Microsoft, and Walmart, and they want to be able to buy this company like together without like the back doors and shit. But like, why? That is not much better than China. Shut the app down at this point, because it's not even, you're not even pretending to use this app as just a straight up data collecting tool if you're Microsoft, Oracle, and Walmart. Like really, like like really, like what you're not using it to do anything better than what China's gonna do. Well, I don't know, but it's Look, it's they're both bad. This is not. Shut the app down. That's my opinion. Shut the app down if it's just gonna be just straight up bullshit, like this guy's saying. Um, so yeah, I think that is it for. Yeah, that's it for the news today. I know tomorrow I really want to like deep dive into this cost of war, um, analysis that they did. I think like this coming out around this time is so interesting, and so much damage has been done by everything surrounding 9/11, and it's so much destruction and death, and it's sad. But thank you guys for listening. And without further ado, this is my mother. Good night. All right, guys. So, on this somber day, of course, 19 years for the anniversary of 9/11, I do actually have almost an historic figure in my own household. My mother, Wanda Luyando, worked at the World Trade Center and the Stock Exchange for 33 years. Moved all around Lower Manhattan, and actually had an office on the 30th floor of the World Trade Center. So, I wanted to bring her on today. I was talking to her a little before this. By about 2080, there won't even be people who even worked at the World Trade Center, assuming that the youngest person was 18. So, I want to be able to get this on recording and just for historical purposes, and yeah, let's see, it's interesting, and hopefully maybe you guys will learn something. So all right, Mom, how are you today?
Hey, I'm fine.
Good. How's everything on this corona time? I know you've been inside a little bit, watching TV.
It's been crazy, but I can deal with it.
All right. She just retired this year, actually. So it almost like wasn't really much of a change for her to be stuck inside. But of course, we've been very lucky as a family and very fortunate. So we're gonna start. So you're going to school. You're a clerk at the stock exchange. How did you get that job?
I was a temp. I was going to school during the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided I wanted to work at night. And
How much were you paying for school? Did you pay out of pocket?
no, thanks to Ronald Reagan,
Reagan, yeah.
he paid for my education, so I was able to go to school
Oh.
free. I didn't pay for anything. I think I paid free the first year, and then after that.
Was there also the GI Bill? I know Grandpa. Was a veteran.
No. I was lucky that when I joined the stock exchange, I was given the opportunity. They said work, but you can also, we'll pay for your schooling, and that's what they did. They paid 100% for my schooling, and I was going to school before that, but I joined the stock exchange because they were going to pay for everything for me.
Yes, that's really cool. So, first day as a clerk, what did you do? What were you doing? Where were you working? What was going on?
I started as a clerk in the communications department, and what they did was handle media and logistics.
What do you mean by that? I'm curious.
Media, meaning that media outlets usually call the stock exchange to get quotes.
There's no internet.
Because there was no internet.
Yeah, and that was how you got the numbers.
And every half hour they would call us up, and we had a ticker tape, and we would look at it.
A ticker tape, by the way, is like, you can explain it.
Well, it was a machine that all it did was just make noise, and it would spit out.
No, that was all it did.
And it's made a lot of noise because I remember going to sleep at night and hearing it in my head. But what it did was spit out quotes, Dow Jones average, every average you could imagine, everything that came, every quote that came out, and we had to every half hour report that to the news.
So like NBC, CBS.
Yes, they would call us up, and we had to give them all the information. Again, there was no internet.
Yeah.
So, and also there were a lot of celebrations that the stock exchange used to have. One year there was a centennial celebration where we had to plan for celebrities to come in on stage. It was a big event to celebrate the 200th year centennial. We did a lot of things like that, especially when new companies listed. We had different things that we had to do. It was a very interesting department. Very interesting department, yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so you're working as a clerk at the stock exchange. You're going to school, so you graduate, and what happens?
Well, I didn't graduate yet. What happened was I was still working doing that, and they were still paying for my schooling. And there was an opportunity where they said, "We have a position for you that's available because you speak Spanish. You can maybe want to be a tour guide in
Okay.
the visitor center." And Stock Exchange had a visitor center where people from all over the world used to come, and they got to see the trading floor. They got to see all the brokers on the floor work, do everything, and we would give tours. When they would come in, we would explain how the stock exchange worked. I had schools that came in. I would do talks to them. Everywhere, anything you wanted to know, we gave information. I gave it also in Spanish, and I did it in Spanish and in English.
I saw that video. She has like a VHS tape of her like doing it. I always make fun of her about it. It's hilarious because you're really professional. It's cool. But yeah, it's definitely a timepiece, without a doubt. So right now, we're talking about the stock exchange. So when did you? So actually, any cool stories about the tour? Any cool tours you did? Anything you remember?
Let's see. I gave tours to a lot of schools. But there were also a lot of college students that came from fancy schools.
Oh yeah.
And they thought they were smarter than I was. So when I threw a question at them, like, what does a Dow Jones average consist of?
Yeah.
They never knew, you know.
Oh.
But they got to learn from me, and it was fun. You know, the kids loved it,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
people from all around the world came.
That seems very unique.
Yeah.
So you're back in school. So you're in college with this. When did you graduate? What year?
It was in 1992, I believe. I was going to school at night.
In what school?
I went to John Jay College.
John Jay College for criminal justice.
For criminal justice.
Yes.
So once I graduated, an opportunity was available for me to go to another division
Within the stock exchange.
within the stock exchange that handles investigations, because when I was going to college, that was one of my majors, investigations.
Interesting.
So I applied and I got a job. And at that time was when I moved to the World Trade Center, because the stock exchange had an enforcement division in the World Trade Center. They had, I believe it was 4 floors at the time. 4 floors at the time. So I came in and I was trained, and what I did was look to see if brokers committed violations.
Okay.
Sort of like, remember what Bernie Madoff did?
Okay. So
So make sure.
SEC-esque.
Not the SEC, no.
No, not the
SEC. But we were familiar with the SEC, and they took some of our cases. But anything that the broker did wrong to a customer, we knew about it, and we investigated, and we just pretty much did an analysis to determine who was telling us the truth, who was not telling us the truth, and if there was a violation, the brokers would receive, either be suspended or fined or
lose a license or whatever. So.
lose a license. I did that for many years.
Interesting. So you're in this position now. You're an investigative analyst, very young. 22, 23?
It was before I had you.
Okay, so right. So what year did when did you start working at the World Trade Center? What was that? Yeah. When did you start?
I was in 1991. I was doing really well.
Why did you move there, Curious?
Because I applied and I got it. I got the position.
Were you working within the New York Stock Exchange?
It was in the stock exchange.
So the stock exchange had an office within the World Trade Center. You
Right.
were working as an investigative analyst there. So.
I was promoted there. Then what happened was I was doing well, and then in 19.
Before we go anything, what was that first day like? What was that first day walking to the World Trade Center? I know I don't know who's even listening to this has ever been to the World Trade Center, but definitely want to hear what it was like.
It was a city. It was a big city. It was a big, huge building, 2 buildings. I worked in the South Tower, and I remember the lobby having so many stores, and I remember thousands of tourists walking in and out, messengers walking in and out, food courts, all these stores that you wanted, any restaurant. It was big. It was huge.
How many floors is it? I'm just going to Google it now. I'm curious. Do you know off the top of your head how many floors the World Trade Center?
It was 101, 102?
It's 100.
107, I'm sorry, 107.
Total floors, really?
107, yeah.
Sure. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, in case you know, I just do this all the time throughout. I don't whatever. Like, I have a whole, I have an agenda, but I don't care going off it. So it was like, according to Wikipedia, it was total height was a 1,368 feet for the first one and 1,362 feet for two World Trade Center.
Right. I worked in two.
You worked in two World Trade Center. You were for the 30th floor. You said, right?
Right.
30th floor. Okay.
I recall my sister coming from Florida and asking that I take her there, and I was like, sure, I'll take you to the top. And I wanted to go indoors in the top, and silly me, I took an elevator, and I had you in a carriage. I don't think you were like, you just turned one maybe.
Yeah.
And I went all the way to the top, and I was outdoors where the antenna was, and I freaked out.
That sounds terrifying. That sounds awful. I don't know.
I went around once in the carriage and went right back in the elevator back down because I was terrified. I didn't want to go way up there. But when you did go up there, your ears popped. It was the fastest elevator you can imagine.
The new one's cool. You have the new one.
No, it's
crazy. You up there in 10 seconds or something. It's scary too.
It's scary. It was a great building, but it's scary at times.
Yeah, you said it used to shake, right?
Yeah, I remember when there were high winds and hurricanes and storms, and I remember how the buildings swayed from side to side. People will never believe it, but I would get up and walk down a hallway, and I literally felt myself going from side to side.
That's psychotic.
And getting dizzy.
That's so tall. I was telling you, like, even if this, never happened, I would never want to live, like, work at the top of a building like that. That's, I don't know.
I was only on the 30th floor, and I felt it.
There's so many jobs close to the ground. I don't know. All right, so yeah, that was you starting there. So like, I mean, so you just go in there every day. That's a little, your days and stuff. And anything else you really remember particularly?
It was a nice little batch of people I worked with, and they were they were very informative, and we were able to do we were pretty free to do our work. We didn't have anybody really bothering us. And it was good. It was a really nice building. I loved the building. It just was scary at times. Yeah. But I loved the building.
So I see 110 floors here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's right, I guess.
Maybe I went up as high as 107.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy to me. So you actually, I know we're talking about 9/11, but I know a lot of people don't even know this, but like there was actually another terrorist attack in '93 at the World Trade Center. If you want to talk about that, because you actually have kind of an interesting story.
Yeah, that was
so
the
talk
story.
about like the whole day there. So
okay, so I was working there. I started there in June of 1992, and I was told that I had to get a new ID card. We were all told that we had to get new ID cards. And I was
you were working there for a couple of years.
I was working a year there.
Yeah.
I was working about a year. And the day that I was supposed to get my ID card, I wasn't in. So when I came in the next day, they said, go downstairs to the B level and go get your ID card. I didn't know there was a B level. I didn't know there was a garage down there. It was like a year in.
Yeah.
So I take the elevator all the way down to the B level. I think it was B1, if I'm not mistaken. And when I get off the elevators, I see nothing but warning signs, and I get a little terrified because now I see nobody, and I'm like, where am I, I had to meet these people, and I didn't know where I was, so I saw a maintenance guy, and he says, where are you going? I said, I'm trying to meet somebody to give me my ID card. He said, okay, go into that little office. So I went into an office with danger signs, like, all around me. I walk in, and I see a couple of people in a little room.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh my goodness. I said out loud, the ceilings are low. It's kind of like dark in here. And they said, yeah. And the girl who handed me the ID card was pregnant. Yeah. I remember that.
Were you pregnant with me?
No, I was not pregnant yet with you.
Okay. All right.
And there was a couple people sitting around. So she gave me my ID card. And I remember I was rushing. Yeah. And I remember before I left, I told my supervisor was leaving, and she said, why are you telling me? Just go downstairs. You don't have to tell me where you're going.
Yeah. It's a pretty normal thing.
So I went down. I got my ID card, and I remember I had to hurry up because I had to meet my friend for lunch at 12:30, and I had to stop at the ATM machine, and it was 12:05. I had my watch, and I remember looking. It was 12:05, so I'm trying to hurry up, and I finally get to the ground where on the main floor. But before I got to the main floor, now that I remember, the elevator stopped at a different B level, and I stepped out thinking it was a ground level, and what it was a garage.
Yeah.
So I remember sticking my head, getting out of the elevator, sticking my head and saying, "Oh my goodness, there's a garage here," and going right back in again. So I go back in, get to the ground floor, go to the ATM machine. By this time, I look at my watch. It's like 12:15. I'm trying to rush, and there's a line at the ATM machine. All of a sudden, at 12:18, a bomb explodes.
Oh God. So yeah.
I felt something underneath me. I felt actually like the whole ground had just gone up and went down. That's how big the impact was.
So just a quick interjection. So February 26, 1993 was the attack. It was at 12:17 p.m. You said 12:15.
It was 12:18.
12:18.
12:18 it happened.
Yeah. Okay. And you were like on the ground floor.
I was on the ground, but I had been minutes before, like 11:55, 12:05 on the B1 level.
Yeah. So I'm looking here on Wikipedia. So this bomb was planted in the underground garage of the North Tower. It opened up a 100-foot hole through 5 sublevels, with greatest damage occurring on level B1 and B2, with significant structural damage on B3. So you said there were 5 B levels, am I correct? Yeah, there were 5. It went through 5 holes.
I was at B level, I think B1 level, to get my ID card.
And
so I was there. I had left my office on the 30th floor like 11:55. So I was there at 12. Right before 12, I came up at 12:18, so I was there.
Practically there, yeah. Oh, it's nuts.
I was there. I was looking at my watch the whole time.
And it was in a truck. It was in a rider truck filled with 1,500 pounds of explosives.
And when I stuck my head out,
yeah,
on that level to look at the garage,
I
probably saw the truck, or probably they were coming in.
That's crazy, but
yeah,
I know there were some people passed from that. That was a sad
thing.
Yeah,
that was the girl that gave me the ID card. She was the one that died, and there was a couple people that died in there. There was like 6 people that died. Yeah, I was right there. It could have been
nuts. Of course, thankfully not.
So I went up.
Yeah.
At 12:18, I was waiting on my ATM machine down the ground floor, and that's when the bomb exploded. The whole floor lifted, it came down, it fell down to the ground.
Jesus.
There was a little Ben and Jerry spot in the middle of the floor, and I looked, and it was just a cloud of smoke, and a girl comes up, and her face is all full of blood.
Oh my God.
So now I'm standing there, I'm like shocked, and I see it like a school. Now, if you look at the movies, at the World Trade Center, you'll always see the teacher with the kids trying to get into the revolving doors.
Yeah.
That's true. I saw that.
Oh my God.
I saw that because there was a class right there. They're trying to get through the revolving doors. So there was like a whole series of revolving doors, and I saw the kids all getting stuck. So what I did when I saw that, I was like, I have to get out of here soon. So what I did was run all the way to the other end where they had wheelchair access doors. So I opened the door and I ran out. So when I ran out, I looked behind me because I heard the screams, and then that's when I saw the cloud of smoke coming behind me. So I ran outside without a coat, with just change in my pocket.
It's February, by the way. It's cold out. I mean,
it was starting to snow lightly.
Oh, wow.
So I ran up. I was so terrified, and my thing was I have to run away from the building because in my head I felt that building's going to fall down, and I also wanted to tell my coworkers to get out because the building was going to fall. Now, we had no cell phones those days.
Yes, that's right.
So I ran to the nearest phone and I put in my quarter. And I called, nobody picked up. So I was like, what do I do?
You called the office?
I called the office and nobody picked up. Nobody picked up. So I said, what do I do?
You're probably out already.
So I just kept walking. I was in shock at this point. So I remember calling your dad, who in turn called our best friend Bobby, who met me.
Oh, Bob met you. I didn't know
he met me and he took me home.
Wow. That's crazy.
Now, everyone thought I had died because I told my supervisor I was going downstairs.
Oh, and you didn't. Oh my God.
They were coming down the steps in the dark because
the power went out.
The power went out.
The basement, yeah.
And they were coming down the dark. They were feeling their ways down. Somebody had my pocketbook. And somebody had my purse.
That's nice. Yeah.
They had my coat and my pocketbook, but they didn't see me that day, so I think I came in the next day or the next week. I can't remember at this point what happened.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was shocked after that. we were displaced naturally.
Uh-huh.
So they put us weeks later. They put us in another building, and we had to go into the building, and we didn't really want to go get our cases and then come back and work. Again, there was nothing was on the computer. We had to get actual cases.
Oh gosh. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So,
Okay.
and people were really in distress, and the company sent people to therapy because of that.
Wow.
You know.
That's wow.
So
what was like the time between then? I'm sure things changed. I know after 9/11 things like changed, but between like 93 and
93 things after a while got back to normal. I think. I mean, down in the downtown Manhattan, you know, people were angry, but we kept going on. I mean, the streets were not blocked or anything like that. Like now in 9/11, after 9/11, everything was blocked. We couldn't go anywhere. But for the most part, it took a while, but things got back to normal again.
Wow, that's wow. I didn't even know all that kind of stuff. All right, so as we're moving to 2001, so we'll go on to the day. So talk just the whole day from the minute you got up to
That
to
day,
right up to about
9/11?
right when like you got to the city. So yeah.
Okay. So that day was a beautiful, beautiful day. And I was taking my younger son, your brother, Michael, to preschool.
Okay.
I know I'm supposed to be at work at 9 o'clock. That day, I ran a little late, and I ended up going to daycare, and I was...
She said you were before she was saying she's always late.
I'm always late to work. Always.
Before you retired, yeah.
Yeah, before... I was on time the day I retired.
Oh my God. Yeah, all right.
No, so that day I took Michael to daycare. He was about 4 years old. And I was talking to his teachers, and they were like, hurry up, you have to get to work. And I had trouble with his book bag. I was just stalled. It was just, it was crazy. But beautiful day, take the train.
The beautiful day. People always say it was a beautiful day.
Took the train, and I normally would have to get off on Cortlandt Street. And there was a recording in the train that said, no one will be getting off at Cortlandt. Please get off at Rector. Something happened on Cortlandt. So I get off on Rector, which is not far from Cortlandt. And I get up and I walk up the steps.
Coming out of the subway. And I see all this commotion and people just standing there, and they're like, it was just weird. Just the whole weird. And I was like, well, and then when I look up, I see the plane hitting one of the towers. Yeah.
So I was like, it was a little bit after 9, and I was like, what just happened? And I was in shock. It felt like something out of a movie, because the plane was so big, and it was just something out of a movie.
That's no one knew at all. It took, I think, a long time for the news of terrorist. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, the terrorist.
So I said, okay, what do I do? I was in shock. What do I do? And I look around, I see people are screaming and people are crying, and I see everyone running toward the building. I said in my head, I am not going to go toward the building. I am not going to run that direction. I'm going to run the opposite direction. And I remember Rector Street, everybody running up Rector Street, and I think I was one of the few that was running the opposite way. And I said, I'm going to head now to the New York Stock Exchange, where I used to work.
Yeah, if you do recall, she worked at the office. Yeah, she worked there when we moved to the Trade Center. Yeah.
So when I ran in, they told me the first thing to do was to go up to the 8th floor. So everybody ran up to the 8th floor. There were still brokers on the trading floor, but everybody that came from the outside, go up to the 8th floor. I went up to the 8th floor. I sat in a room. People were asking for other people that they seen anybody, and I just sat there. I was pretty numb, and my boss walks in, and when he walks in, he slumps himself on a chair and he couldn't talk. And when I asked the guy who brought him in what happened, he said to me, he saw when people were jumping out of the window, because the way his window is situated, it was like he could see the bodies just coming down. So he was in total shock. He couldn't even speak. And some people were crying. And all of a sudden, a friend of mine came out and said, oh my God, I hear them coming this way. And what he heard were the helicopters. Yeah. They were kind of low. So I
just kind of want to circle back a little. So you're in the stock exchange, right? And so you go in there and you go up to the
Eighth floor.
eighth floor, and you're with your
Some
find your
co-workers.
Okay.
Some of them were co-workers. Some were that when they were not. They would just tell everybody to go to the eighth floor.
And there were some people who were coming from your floor
Yes.
of the World Trade Center
Yes,
who had gotten out okay.
No, I got it okay.
It's the 30th floor.
The
so
30th floor.
High up, but not like, you know. I think
Okay, now let me also add that we had a security guard in our floor.
Yeah.
And Ali, his name was Ali, he was the one that said, everybody get out. Even though we were supposed to wait for the okay from the stock exchange, and he said, no, we're not going to wait for the okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get out.
Yeah.
So he went up and down each floor to make sure that everybody was out, and then he left. So there was nobody left.
So probably around like a couple floors above and below. Where he was in charge of, essentially.
So he went around, he made sure he checked the bathrooms, he told us to leave. Keep in mind that at that time, people were told to leave, to go to the ground, and then when they saw that nothing else was going to happen, they told them to go back in. That's when people died, because they were told. But Ali said, get out, go home, go somewhere, but you're not going to stay in this building. Thank God for him, because...
He won an award.
He won an award. He won an award.
Like a mayor's award or something.
Yeah, he won an award.
Probably link it. I'll look the guy up after.
Yeah, Ali Howard. He was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And thank God for him, because he was the one that said, everybody get out. You're not going to stay here. Because we had to wait for the okay from the stock exchange. We were not going to wait, but we got out. Luckily, all of us survived from that floor.
But anyway, so going back into where you guys were, so you guys are all, after Ali, did all this, got at least a lot of your co-workers onto the trading floor, which is a couple blocks from where the World Trade Center was.
Right. 11 Wall Street.
11 Wall Street.
We went to the 8th floor.
Yeah.
So after my friend, I told you, heard the noise
out
the window.
Mile from about.
Yeah. After he heard the noise from the window, he thought that they were coming our way. And he thought it was machine guns or something.
Like, no one knows what's happening yet. I think by the second plane, it was people realized it was deliberate. But, obviously a helicopter flying, you don't know.
So he said, they're coming this way. So we ducked underneath the table. I remember that. And then I said, I'm out of here. And I just took my bag and ran down all the way down the stairs. I didn't know where to go. And then I just found myself on the actual trading floor with a bunch of brokers. And when I went in there, I was anxious to get to a phone. Again, no cell phones.
Yeah.
So the phones were not working down there.
I guess there were cell phones, not en masse.
Not en masse, right.
Yeah.
So I went down there and I kind of grabbed every phone, and I wanted to get a dial tone and I didn't, and I kept grabbing phones, and a broker said to me, don't bother because we're trying to make calls. And I said, I'm going to keep doing this. I got to make a call until I finally hit a phone that had a dial tone. And that's when I called Dad and I called your grandmother.
Yeah.
And I told them that I was fine. It was after 10 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah.
I stayed in the building on the ground floor, the trading floor. There was a little side room. I stayed there in the room with a girl that I had known and a couple of brokers. And when the tower fell down, I think it was 2 that fell down, I looked out the window. It was like a little window, and it was pitch black outside. Pitch black.
There's like 9 in the morning, 10 a.m.
Yeah,
like
pitch black.
11. Yeah.
And I remember just looking at it on television and looking at the window at the same time. By this point, everybody just started crying, and it was crazy. And I waited in there. I was numb. I waited in there, and they told us we couldn't leave. And then after a few hours, they said, now you can leave. And there was a guy outside with a big barrel with a bunch of wet rags. And as we all left the trading floor, he would hand us the wet rag to put out over our faces, and we were supposed to walk. And I said, where do I go? I don't even know where to go. I remember it being such a sad time because it looked like a war had just hit New York City. Cars were going all different directions. Cars were upside down. Fire trucks were all over the place, sideways, upside down, you name it. Cars were destroyed. And we were just, a mass of us coming out of the exchange were walking towards the bridge. We were directed to walk towards the bridge to go home. And it was just solemn, very quiet. People were crying. And it was a very, very sad moment, very solemn, sad moment where we just started to I couldn't believe it. I was looking around. I just couldn't believe that this would have happened. Very, very sad time. when we started to walk on the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
the bridge was bouncing.
So which bridge?
I believe it was. I think we were directed to the Brooklyn Bridge.
I
And
assume so. The Brooklyn Bridge is the closest one to you.
yeah, but then they told us to
Right?
get
Yeah.
off the Brooklyn Bridge and go to the. No, I'm sorry. That was another instance because in August there was a blackout and we had to walk the bridge here too.
Oh God, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, there was another blackout. I think we were on the Brooklyn Bridge and we were walking and we heard like a thump, 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 and somebody said, "Oh my God, they're coming this way!" So now we're running across the bridge because
You're thinking, sorry. You're thinking 2003 was blackout.
yeah, 2003.
So it was a
blackout.
year after. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. I dropped out.
And we were running. We were running because we felt that maybe the bridge was going to come down. They're going to bomb the bridge. So we were running for a little bit, and then they said, "No, calm down." And I remember getting off the bridge, and there was a little church, and there were people gathered, and
Was this on the Brooklyn side?
on the Brooklyn side downtown.
Okay. It's downtown so different now.
Yeah, downtown.
Yeah.
And I remember Grandpa picking me up after that. And then I remember my shoes being all white. I wasn't covered in that soot because I was not actually there when,
Yeah.
but I do have friends that were running around during the time when the buildings came down. I was inside of a building. I didn't want to be outside. So after that, of course, we didn't go to work for a couple of months. And I was pretty much numb for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and until one day I decided I have to get out of here and go out, and I decided to get dressed and go to downtown Manhattan and snap pictures of everything that all the stuff, the soot that was still in front of stores, the broken streets and all that, until a cop caught me and said, "You can't take pictures." But I did manage to take a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
So, and
Wow.
that was that.
That's, jeez, like,
So,
yeah.
and I continued to work there after 9/11.
Where did they put you?
After 9/11, we were displaced. We went to 20 Broad, which was part of their building.
Still stock exchange.
Still stock exchange, and then we ended up at 14 Wall Street, another building across the street from the stock exchange. Then we ended up. I kind of merged with another department, FINRA, and I stayed with in the financial district until 33 years, until January 31st of this year. It was very hard to go back, but I went back, and the memorial, that whole, I never was able to pass it. That memorial and the water, that I can't. I mean, I look at it from a distance. I'll take pictures from a distance. I ended up working in the World Financial Center, which is right across from there. So I every time I would take the train, I would see it, but I would just pass by it because I just didn't want to be there. And it kind of bothers me that a lot of tourists still go there. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that a lot of tourists go there. I don't like the fact that they built a museum. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, it's just fair.
But every so often I would see somebody giving tours, and it's just mind-boggling to me. But that's just me. I don't know.
It doesn't feel real almost. I remember when I went to Stetson, they had I went in 2012, they had like a little monument. I just remember someone passing it and being like, why are we still like celebrating this? This was maybe like 11 years ago. Like,
right.
11 years after it happened. So,
right.
It's, yeah.
Well, I remember a woman from the South like stopping me and saying, "Do you know where the World Trade Center used to be?" And I kind of said, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, it's right here." And she goes, I used to work there." She goes, "Oh, how nice." I was like, "Okay, let me keep walking." It's just, yeah.
That's something. I mean, so what changed after? What changed, after?
Oh my goodness! Streets were closed. We felt caged in. The World Trade Center. I mean, the
Freedom Tower.
The Freedom Tower. I mean, everything we just feel caged in. I mean, now you have to get IDs to get everywhere. Of the stock exchange is like in a cage right now. You can't even go in there. There's no more visitor centers. Visitors are not allowed to go into the building. It changed. It's not. It was never the same again. It was never free. It was never.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean that's. I don't even know what to say after all that.
Yeah, it was never free.
It's a different world now. I know.
I don't think I ever. I
How do you feel about being 20 years next year?
I'm okay because I think I emotionally I cut myself. Like I don't I try not to think about it as much, but days like this you do think about it.
Yeah, of course.
So I kind of cut myself just to protect myself emotionally. I just you know.
So yeah, so all right, well.
And I'm
thank
still
you.
here.
You're still here.
I'm still
You're
here.
kicking. Yeah, there are people. They're still fighting every day for the rights of the people who were there. They took in all that smoke and smog and the burning iron and lead and all that, and I still feel it to this day. But I know I said at the beginning, by 2080, hey mom, you're like literally a walking museum. By 2080, there's not gonna be anybody who did half the things you said and been on the trading floor and all that. So, thank you.
No problem.
That's anything you want to mention as well? Anything?
No, that's pretty much it. I think we got it. We got this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mom. It was really interesting. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Not sure if I'm going to make this an episode in itself or kind of add it to the one tonight, but this will be released tonight. And thank you so much, Mom.
Okay, baby.
I love and respect. I love and respect. I love and respect.